The crash landing. Ethan Rivers was no stranger to danger. He had navigated through asteroid fields and survived solar flares during his years as an astronaut. However, nothing could prepare him for the chaos that ensued when his spacecraft malfunctioned mid-flight. Alarms blared as he wrestled with controls that seemed to have a mind of their own. With a final jolt, everything went dark. When consciousness returned, it was not to the familiar hum of his ship but to an overwhelming cacophony of sounds, chirps, rustles, and an unfamiliar melody that floated through the air. As he opened his eyes, he was greeted by a vibrant tapestry of colors. Towering trees with luminescent leaves surrounded him, their hues shifting like a living rainbow. Ethan pushed himself up from where he lay on soft mossy ground, feeling disoriented. The acrid smell of burnt metal lingered in the air as he took stock of his surroundings. Scattered debris from his ship lay strewn across what appeared to be a small clearing in a dense jungle. What happened? He muttered to himself, trying to shake off the fog of confusion. As he stood up, brushing dirt off his jumpsuit, he noticed movement at the edge of the clearing. Heart racing, he instinctively reached for his utility knife strapped at his side. "Hello?" he called out cautiously, unsure if anyone, or anything, was there. The rustling grew louder until it revealed not just one figure but several. Emerging from the foliage were women unlike any he had ever seen, each one breathtakingly beautiful, adorned in shimmering garments that glimmered like starlight. Their skin tones varied from deep azure to soft lavender, each radiating an otherworldly glow. Ethan's jaw dropped as one stepped forward, a tall woman with striking emerald skin and silver hair cascading down her back. Her eyes sparkled like gems as she regarded him with curiosity. "You are not from here," she said softly, her voice melodic. I'm Ethan," he stammered, feeling utterly out of place yet captivated by her presence. "I am Lyra," she introduced herself gracefully. "You have crash-landed on Alicia." The name sent a shiver down Ethan's spine. He had read about uncharted planets in distant galaxies but never imagined being stranded on one himself. "What is this place?" he asked, trying to mask his rising panic. Lyra gestured around them. "This was once a pleasure colony for advanced alien races. Now we are its last inhabitants." Ethan's mind raced as he processed her words. "And you're all alone here?" She nodded solemnly. "There are 30 of us remaining. 30 women, and no men." Ethan realized how bizarre this situation was becoming. He was indeed alone among these stunning beings who seemed fascinated by him. Lyra stepped closer, her expression shifting from curiosity to something more profound, an interest that made him feel both flattered and apprehensive. "We have heard tales of Earth," she continued eagerly. "Your world is filled with wonders." "Yeah," Ethan replied nervously, "but I'm not sure how much help I can be right now." He glanced at the wreckage of his ship looming behind him like a haunting reminder of his predicament. "Please," Lyra urged gently. "Stay with us for a while, we have many questions about your world." Ethan hesitated, every instinct told him to focus on repairing his ship and finding a way home. Yet something about Lyra's hopeful gaze tugged at him, a yearning for connection that resonated deep within him. "All right," he relented slowly. "But first, is there somewhere I can clean up? This crash left me a bit worse for wear." Lyra's face lit up with excitement as she turned to her companions and spoke rapidly in their native tongue. They exchanged smiles before leading him deeper into the jungle. As they walked through lush foliage filled with exotic flowers emitting sweet fragrances, Ethan couldn't help but feel an overwhelming sense of wonder mixed with trepidation about what lay ahead on this alien world. They arrived at a secluded grotto where shimmering hot springs bubbled invitingly under dappled sunlight filtering through overhead leaves. "These waters will rejuvenate you," Lyra explained as steam rose around them like ethereal wisps. Ethan stood at the edge of one pool, suddenly aware of how exposed he felt amidst these beautiful women who watched him intently. Do you mind giving me some privacy?" he asked sheepishly. Lyra tilted her head in confusion but then nodded understandingly after exchanging glances with her friends. They retreated slightly while still casting curious looks over their shoulders. Once alone, Ethan quickly stripped off his jumpsuit and stepped into the warm water, a wave of relief washing over him as sore muscles relaxed beneath its soothing embrace. As he soaked in silence surrounded by nature's beauty, thoughts raced through his mind. How had he ended up here? What would happen next? And could he truly adapt to life among these alien beauties? After what felt like hours lost in contemplation, Ethan reluctantly emerged from the pool feeling refreshed yet still uncertain about everything unfolding around him. To his surprise, neatly folded garments awaited him, a loose-fitting tunic that shimmered softly under sunlight alongside pants that seemed to change color slightly as he moved. Dressed in this new attire that felt both foreign yet comfortable against his skin, Ethan made his way back toward where Lyra awaited him along with several other women who had gathered again at the clearing's edge. "You look much better," Lyra exclaimed upon seeing him approach. "Thanks," he replied sheepishly while running a hand through damp hair, still feeling slightly overwhelmed by it all. "We have so many questions for you about Earth," another woman chimed in eagerly, a vibrant figure named Celine whose lavender skin glowed warmly under sunlight. "Sure," Ethan said cautiously but intrigued nonetheless. Perhaps sharing stories would help bridge this gap between worlds, a connection forged through understanding despite their differences. Discovering Alicia. As the sun dipped lower in the sky, casting a warm golden hue over the lush landscape, Ethan found himself surrounded by the captivating women of Alicia. Lyra, the emerald-skinned leader, stood beside him, her eyes sparkling with excitement. "We have much to show you," she said, her voice filled with enthusiasm. "The journey begins." Ethan felt a mix of apprehension and curiosity as he followed Lyra and the others deeper into the jungle. The vibrant flora seemed to pulse with life, each plant more extraordinary than the last. He marveled at flowers that changed colors as they moved past and trees whose trunks shimmered with iridescent patterns. "Welcome to our home," Lyra announced proudly, gesturing around her. "This is Alicia, a land of beauty and wonder." Ethan couldn't help but smile at her enthusiasm. "It's incredible," he replied, taking in the sights and sounds around him. "I've never seen anything like it." A glimpse into culture. As they walked, Lyra began to explain the history of their tribe. "We were once part of a larger society that catered to advanced alien races," she shared. "But after many conflicts, we became isolated, and now we are the last of our kind." Ethan listened intently, feeling a pang of sympathy for these women who had endured so much. The weight of their past hung heavily in the air, yet there was also a sense of resilience in their spirits. "Do you have any technology?" Ethan asked, curious about how they survived without outside help. Lyra nodded. "We have learned to adapt our environment to our needs. Our ancestors left us with knowledge of sustainable living." She pointed to a cluster of plants growing nearby. "These are energy plants, they can power our homes." Ethan was fascinated by their ingenuity and began asking questions about their daily lives. The women eagerly shared their customs, from harvesting food to crafting tools from natural resources. Building connections. As days turned into weeks, Ethan settled into life among the tribe. He formed friendships with several women, each with unique talents and personalities. Celine, with her lavender skin and playful nature, often challenged him to learn their ways. Violetta, who had an affinity for healing plants, taught him about their medicinal properties. Ethan found himself captivated by their stories and laughter. He often joined them in gathering food or exploring the jungle's hidden wonders. Their bond deepened as they shared experiences from their respective worlds. One evening, while sitting around a glowing fire under a starlit sky, Ethan felt an overwhelming sense of belonging. The warmth of the flames reflected in Lyra's eyes as she recounted tales of their ancestors' bravery. "You have brought new life to our tribe," she said softly, her gaze steady on him. Ethan felt his heart race at her words. He had come here by accident but found something he never expected, a connection that transcended worlds. The dilemma of home. Despite his growing attachment to Alicia and its inhabitants, Ethan struggled with thoughts of returning home. He knew he had responsibilities on Earth, family and friends who would be worried about him. Yet every time he considered repairing his ship and leaving this paradise, he felt a sense of loss wash over him. Lyra seemed to sense his internal conflict. One afternoon as they walked through a vibrant meadow filled with flowers that danced in the breeze, she stopped and turned to him. "Ethan," she began gently, "you do not have to choose between us and your world." He looked at her, surprised by her insight. "But I can't stay here forever," he replied hesitantly. "Perhaps not forever," Lyra said thoughtfully. "But you could help us rebuild what was lost here while also learning from us." Her words resonated deeply within him. Perhaps there was a way to bridge both worlds without abandoning one for the other. A new purpose. With newfound determination, Ethan decided to focus on helping the tribe thrive while also searching for a way back home when the time was right. He began working alongside Violetta in her garden of healing plants, learning about their uses while also sharing Earth's agricultural techniques. The tribe welcomed his ideas with open arms. They were eager to learn about Earth's technology and culture as much as he was fascinated by theirs. As weeks passed, Ethan felt more integrated into their community than ever before. He participated in rituals celebrating nature's bounty and even learned some of their language, a melodic tongue that flowed like music. The threat emerges. However, peace was not destined to last forever. One evening while gathered around the fire sharing stories, an elder named Mira spoke up with concern etched on her face. "There are rumors of a rival faction encroaching upon our territory," she warned gravely. "They seek to take what little we have left." Ethan's heart sank at her words. He had come to care deeply for these women and their way of life. "What can we do?" he asked urgently. Lyra's expression hardened with resolve. "We must prepare ourselves for whatever may come," she declared fiercely. Bonds and challenges. A new life begins. Ethan's days on Alicia transformed into a rhythm of discovery and camaraderie. With each sunrise, he felt more integrated into the tribe, learning their customs and sharing tales of Earth. The women welcomed him with open arms, eager to understand his world while he marveled at the wonders of theirs. One morning, as the sun filtered through the trees, Ethan joined Lyra and Violetta in gathering fruits from the vibrant flora surrounding their home. "These are called lumifruits," Violetta explained, holding up a glowing orb that pulsed with light. "They are rich in nutrients and have healing properties." Ethan took a bite, the sweet juice exploding in his mouth. "This is amazing. We don't have anything like this on Earth." Lyra smiled, her eyes sparkling with delight. "You see? There is much we can learn from each other." Building friendships. As weeks passed, Ethan grew closer to Lyra, whose leadership and compassion inspired him. They often spent evenings talking under the stars, sharing dreams and fears. He learned about her responsibilities as a leader and her desire to protect her people. "Sometimes I feel the weight of this world on my shoulders," Lyra confessed one night, her voice barely above a whisper. "I worry about our future." Ethan reached out, placing a reassuring hand on hers. "You're not alone in this. I want to help you protect your home." Their bond deepened as they navigated the challenges of their worlds together. Ethan found himself drawn to Lyra's strength and beauty, while she admired his determination and kindness. Adapting to alien life. Despite the growing connection between them, Ethan faced challenges adapting to life on Alicia. The customs and traditions were foreign to him, and he often stumbled through social interactions. One day, during a gathering where stories were shared, Ethan accidentally interrupted one of the elders while she spoke. The tribe fell silent, their gazes fixed on him with a mix of surprise and disappointment. "I'm sorry," Ethan stammered, feeling heat rise in his cheeks. "I didn't mean to interrupt." Lyra stepped forward, her voice calm yet firm. "It is important to respect our elders, Ethan. They hold wisdom that guides us." Ethan nodded, chastened but determined to learn from his mistakes. He spent time observing how the tribe interacted, slowly understanding the nuances of their culture. A rival faction emerges. Just as he began to feel more at home, news arrived that sent ripples of tension through the tribe. A rival faction had been spotted near their territory. The news came from Mira, an elder known for her foresight. "They seek our resources," she warned during a tense meeting held in the clearing where they first found Ethan. "We must prepare for what may come." Ethan felt a surge of protectiveness for Lyra and the tribe. "What can I do to help?" he asked earnestly. Lyra looked at him with gratitude but also concern. "You are still learning our ways. But your knowledge of strategy could be invaluable." Together with Lyra and other tribe members, Ethan began devising plans for defense while also exploring ways to strengthen their community. Training for conflict. Days turned into weeks as they prepared for potential conflict. Ethan worked alongside Lyra and Violetta to train the women in basic self-defense techniques using makeshift weapons crafted from local materials. "Focus on your surroundings," Ethan instructed during one training session in a secluded area of the jungle. "Use your agility to your advantage." The women listened intently, eager to learn how to protect themselves and their home. As they practiced movements under Ethan's guidance, he couldn't help but feel a sense of pride in their determination. One afternoon after training, Celine approached him with a playful smile. "You're quite good at this. Maybe we should make you our official trainer." Ethan laughed but felt an unexpected warmth at her words. He was becoming part of something larger than himself, a community that relied on each other. The day of reckoning. As tensions mounted, the day finally arrived when scouts reported sightings of the rival faction encroaching upon their territory. The atmosphere was thick with anxiety as Ethan gathered everyone together in the clearing. "We must remain united," he urged them passionately. "If we stand together, we can protect our home." The tribe nodded in agreement, determination shone in their eyes as they prepared for whatever lay ahead. That evening, under the glow of two moons illuminating Alicia's landscape, they fortified their defenses while sharing stories, reminding each other of what they were fighting for, their home, their way of life. Facing fear together. As night fell and shadows danced around them, Ethan felt an overwhelming sense of camaraderie among the women, each one ready to defend what was theirs despite fear lingering just beneath the surface. Lyra stood beside him as they watched over their campfire flickering against the dark sky filled with stars, a stark contrast to the uncertainty looming ahead. "Whatever happens tomorrow," she said softly, turning to face him with sincerity in her gaze, "know that you have become part of us." Ethan's heart swelled at her words. He had come here by chance but found purpose among these incredible women who had welcomed him into their lives so openly. "Thank you," he replied earnestly. "I won't let you down." The Festival of Unity. Preparing for celebration. The air was thick with anticipation as the tribe of Alicia prepared for the Festival of Unity, a long-standing tradition meant to celebrate their resilience and bond as a community. Ethan could feel the excitement buzzing around him like electricity. Lyra, who had become an integral part of his life, was particularly animated as she explained the significance of the festival. "This is our way of honoring our ancestors and reaffirming our commitment to one another," she said, her eyes shining with enthusiasm. "It's a time for joy, storytelling, and strengthening our connections." Ethan watched as the women adorned themselves in vibrant garments made from the shimmering fabrics unique to Alicia. Each piece seemed to reflect their personalities, some were bold and bright, while others were soft and flowing. He felt a pang of longing, he wished he could participate fully in their traditions. "Will you join us in the festivities?" Lyra asked, breaking him from his thoughts. "I'd love to," Ethan replied, feeling a sense of belonging swell within him. The gathering begins. As dusk fell, the clearing transformed into a breathtaking spectacle. Bioluminescent plants illuminated the area, casting a soft glow over everything. The women gathered in a circle, their laughter echoing through the trees as they prepared for the evening's events. Ethan stood at the edge of the gathering, feeling slightly out of place yet eager to immerse himself in their culture. Lyra approached him with a warm smile. "You should sit with us," she urged, taking his hand and leading him into the circle. The first part of the festival involved storytelling. Each woman took turns sharing tales from their past, stories of bravery, love, and loss that had shaped their lives on Alicia. Ethan listened intently, captivated by their narratives filled with rich imagery and emotion. When it was his turn to share, he hesitated for a moment. "I come from a place called Earth," he began slowly. "It's very different from here." As he spoke about his home, the bustling cities, vast landscapes, and technological advancements, he noticed how fascinated they were by his words. "Your world sounds incredible," Violetta exclaimed, her eyes wide with wonder. Ethan smiled at her enthusiasm. "It has its beauty and challenges, just like Alicia. Dancing under the stars." After storytelling, the tribe transitioned into dance, a celebration of movement that brought everyone together. The rhythm of drums echoed through the night as they began to sway and twirl under the starlit sky. Ethan felt a surge of exhilaration as Lyra took his hand and pulled him into the dance. He stumbled at first but quickly found his footing as he followed her lead. The women laughed joyfully as they danced around him, their movements fluid and graceful. "Just feel the music," Lyra encouraged him, her laughter infectious. As he let go of his inhibitions and embraced the moment, Ethan realized how liberating it felt to be part of something so joyous. The weight of his worries lifted as he lost himself in the rhythm, a reminder that life was about connection and celebration. A moment of reflection. As the night wore on, Ethan found himself sitting beside Lyra on a blanket spread across soft grass after an evening filled with laughter and dance. The stars twinkled above them like diamonds scattered across velvet fabric. "Thank you for including me in your festival," Ethan said softly, glancing at Lyra. "It means a lot." Lyra smiled warmly at him. "You are one of us now, Ethan. This is your home too." Her words resonated deeply within him, he had never felt such acceptance before. Yet beneath that warmth lay an undercurrent of anxiety, he knew that looming threats still hung over them like dark clouds on the horizon. A shadow approaches. Just as they began to relax into their conversation, Mira approached with a serious expression etched across her face. "Lyra," she said urgently, "we have received reports that the rival faction is moving closer." The mood shifted instantly, laughter faded into tense silence as everyone turned their attention to Mira. "We must prepare ourselves," Lyra declared firmly, rising to her feet. "This festival was meant to unite us against any threat." Ethan felt a knot tighten in his stomach. He had hoped for a night free from worry but understood that they could not ignore reality any longer. "We need to strategize," Ethan suggested, stepping forward alongside Lyra. "If we work together, we can defend what we've built here." The tribe nodded in agreement, determination replaced fear in their eyes as they rallied around their leaders. Planning for defense. They gathered in a circle once more, this time not for celebration but for planning. Ethan shared ideas based on Earth's military tactics while Lyra contributed insights about Elysian terrain advantages. "Let's set up watch points around our perimeter," Ethan proposed. "We can use natural barriers to our advantage." The women listened intently, asking questions and brainstorming solutions together as night deepened around them, a testament to their unity amidst uncertainty. As they discussed strategies late into the night under shimmering stars above them, their laughter mingling with serious discussions, Ethan felt an overwhelming sense of purpose wash over him once again. The battle for Alicia. The calm before the storm. As dawn broke over Alicia, a sense of urgency filled the air. The vibrant colors of the landscape seemed muted, overshadowed by the impending threat of the rival faction. Ethan stood with Lyra and the other tribe members at the edge of their territory, scanning the horizon for any signs of movement. The previous night's festivities felt like a distant memory, replaced by a weighty silence that hung over them. "Today is crucial," Lyra said, her voice steady but laced with concern. "We must protect our home at all costs." Ethan nodded, feeling the gravity of her words. He had come to care deeply for these women and their way of life. The thought of losing everything they had built together fueled his determination to fight alongside them. Strategizing for defense. Gathering in their meeting space, Ethan and Lyra led the tribe in a strategic discussion. "We need to set up watch points along the perimeter," Ethan suggested, recalling his military training. "If we can spot them before they reach us, we'll have an advantage." Mira, the elder, chimed in with wisdom gained from years of experience. "We can use the natural barriers of the jungle to our advantage. The dense foliage will provide cover and conceal our movements." The tribe members nodded in agreement, their spirits lifting as they began to formulate a plan. They divided into groups, each assigned specific tasks to fortify their defenses. Ethan felt a surge of pride as he watched everyone work together, each woman contributing her unique skills to protect their home. Preparing for battle. As the sun climbed higher in the sky, Ethan and Lyra worked side by side, gathering materials to create makeshift weapons from local resources. Violetta demonstrated how to fashion sharp blades from sturdy branches while Celine crafted slingshots using elastic vines. "This is more than just about survival," Lyra said, her eyes fierce with determination. "It's about preserving our way of life." Ethan could see the fire in her spirit, and it ignited something within him as well. He was no longer just an outsider, he was part of this community, ready to fight for their future. As they prepared their defenses, Ethan took a moment to reflect on how far he had come since crash landing on this alien world. He had arrived as a lost astronaut but was now standing shoulder to shoulder with these incredible women, united by a common purpose. The first encounter. Hours passed as they fortified their camp and waited anxiously for any sign of the rival faction. As dusk approached, tension hung thick in the air. Suddenly, a shout echoed through the trees, a warning cry from one of their scouts. "They're coming!" The scout rushed into view, breathless and wide-eyed. Ethan's heart raced as he turned to Lyra. "It's time." The tribe members gathered quickly, forming a defensive line at the edge of their territory. Ethan felt adrenaline coursing through his veins as he took his place beside Lyra and Mira. The sounds of rustling leaves grew louder as shadows emerged from the jungle. A group of rugged figures clad in mismatched armor stepped into view. Their leader stepped forward, a tall figure with menacing features who surveyed them with disdain. "You think you can defend this place?" he sneered. "You're outnumbered and outmatched." Ethan stepped forward, ready to confront him. "We may be fewer in number, but we will fight for our home. The battle begins." With that declaration hanging in the air, chaos erupted as both sides clashed. Ethan fought alongside Lyra and the tribe members, using every ounce of training he had received on Earth. He was amazed at how quickly they adapted to combat. Each woman fought with fierce determination and agility. Violetta moved gracefully through the fray, using her knowledge of healing plants to aid those who were injured, while Celine launched projectiles with deadly accuracy from her slingshot. Ethan found himself working seamlessly with them, his instincts guiding him as he dodged attacks and countered with precision. Despite being outnumbered, they fought valiantly against their adversaries. Moments of valor. In the midst of battle chaos, Ethan noticed Lyra engaged in combat with one of their attackers, a fierce warrior who underestimated her strength. With a swift movement, she disarmed him and sent him sprawling to the ground. "Stay focused," she shouted over her shoulder as she moved on to confront another opponent. Ethan felt pride swell within him. Lyra was not just a leader but a warrior in her own right, fighting fiercely for her people. As they pushed back against their attackers, Ethan caught sight of Mira tending to an injured tribe member nearby. He rushed over to help her stabilize the woman's wounds while keeping an eye on the ongoing battle. Stay strong, Mira urged gently as she worked quickly. We cannot lose hope. Turning point. Just when it seemed that they might gain an upper hand against their foes, Ethan noticed reinforcements arriving for the rival faction, more warriors pouring into view from behind trees like shadows emerging from darkness. Panic surged through him as he realized they were outmatched once again. We need to regroup, he shouted urgently to Lyra. She nodded resolutely, rallying her people around her. Fall back. To the grotto. They retreated strategically toward their fortified area. The grotto that had once been a place of healing now became their sanctuary amidst chaos. A last stand. Inside the grotto, they quickly barricaded entrances and prepared for what could be their final stand against overwhelming odds. The atmosphere was tense, fear flickered in some eyes while others remained resolute, ready to fight until their last breath. Ethan looked around at his newfound family, these women who had welcomed him into their lives without hesitation, and felt an overwhelming sense of responsibility wash over him. We can't let them take our home, he declared passionately. We fight together.